is bad at pattern recognition. We aren't. Just 2 years ago, another trans 20-something walked into a Christian school in Nashville with a rifle and shot 3 kids and 3 adults. They buried the manifesto and locked down the case. We've seen trans shootings in Colorado and in Maryland. They even shot up an ICE facility in Texas. The mayor of Minneapolis says you can't say that.
Anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity. We should not be operating out of a place of hate for anyone.
I don't hate anyone who thinks they're trans. I feel sorry for them. But statistically, the trans population has been prone to violence.
Brilliant opening monologue last night from Jesse Watters. While the rest of the absolutely useless woke media wants us to believe that guns are the problem, while the rest of the struggling propagandists are trying to hypnotize you with their increasingly toxic mouth farts, Jesse Watters is telling you the truth. This is not a Second Amendment problem. This is not a Smith & Wesson problem. This is an ideological problem. Like I told you guys the other day, the time for tolerance is rapidly expiring. Tolerance only works if it's being given both ways. And it is abundantly clear that deacons at Woke United Methodist, they are not tolerant of anyone who opposes their beliefs. Instead of forming their own country where their utopian dreams can become nightmares, instead of forming their own country where men can identify as women and litter boxes are mandatory in schools so teachers who identify as Garfield have an appropriate place to bury their turds, they use our tolerance against us as they desperately try to redesign America. If you want to know the end result, just look at what's happening right now in Europe. For the most part, sports leagues have figured out that embracing the woke wiener is bad for business. 5 years ago, the NBA embraced the disease of mythical racism. LeBron James was criticizing cops, the self-proclaimed king who has never come close to dethroning the real king. Hell, he doesn't even belong in the same conversation as the great one, Michael Jordan. The self-proclaimed king, he was trying to convince us that he was afraid to leave his gated mansion. OMG, you guys, I'm so scared. If I walk out of my mansion, one of my hired guards might think I'm a robber and unload the full tank of his water gun. Please give me your sympathy. TTYL, your king, Bron Bron. To his credit, Adam Silver promised to remove politics from the NBA, and for the most part, Adam Silver has delivered on that promise. For a while, the NHL was consistently tasting the rainbow. They were proudly flaunting their gay pride. Major League Baseball was combating mythical racism by moving the All-Star game from Atlanta to Denver. To combat fake racism, Rob Manfred took millions and millions of dollars out of a majority black city, and he gave all that money to the white people in Denver. For 2 or 3 years, the woke fungus was talked about more than the actual games themselves. But as is often the case, once they noticed that the fungus was consuming their profits, once they noticed that the woke fungus was doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is seek and destroy, all of a sudden, professional sports leagues decided to distance themselves. Outside of doofus messages in the end zone in the NFL, the woke fungus has essentially been eradicated from sports. Clearly, professional sports realize that normal people have all the power. But what about the illusion of professional sports? What about pretend basketball? If anyone should understand the damage that the woke fungus can cause, it should be the WNBA. This toxic dump has been the antithesis of American culture for decades. Feminine masculinity, unbelievable entitlement, constant whining and complaining, the belief that they are owed something because they pretend to play basketball in front of crowds that can be counted by hand. But over the last 18 or so months, the WNBA has been gifted with players that America is willing to support. Players that women can relate to and men find attractive. Players that color their hair instead of using just for men to color their beard. More importantly, the WNBA has been gifted with stars who understand that politics have no place in the league. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and to some degree, even Angel Reese. From a marketing and PR perspective, this should be a no-brainer. Problem for the WNBA, this league is filled with no-brainers. Instead of pushing Sophie Cunningham as one of the faces of their league, the WNBA decides to consistently punish her. To make matters worse, this damn dump wants Paige Bueckers to be the face of pretend basketball. And last night, Paige Bueckers once again proved why she is not capable of being the face of a league with mainstream aspirations. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel in the description below. Today on the second channel, going to be talking about recent comments from WNBA legend Lisa Leslie. She explained why Caitlin Clark should be done for the season, whether she is healthy enough to play or not. Apparently, the lovely Lisa, she must be a big fan of Uncle KC, because she basically repeated what I have been saying for weeks now. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Last night was an unmitigated disaster in Dallas. For starters, just over 5,000 people paid pesos to watch their uninspiring game against the female Suns from Connecticut, which filled the Civic Center to around half capacity. Well, Casey, that's because Paige Bueckers wasn't playing last night. If she was on the court, the line would be out the door. Yeah, the line would be out the door as people leave as fast as possible to get away from this painfully boring product. Supposedly, Paige Bueckers could not play last night because she was sick. Apparently, she caught that devastating flu that's been going around in the middle of August. If I had to guess, Paige Bueckers did not play last night because the Dallas Wankers are a flaming ass fire and their season is essentially over. Maybe she didn't feel like giving another inspiring performance where she breaks scoring records by scoring 9 points in 90 minutes. I'm just having a hard time believing in this mythical illness because Paige Bueckers, she damn sure didn't seem ill when she was speaking to the media. Prior to the game last night, as concession workers were spilling food and drinks throughout the arena so it looked like people were actually there. Prior to the game, a supposedly ill Paige Bueckers spoke with the media. For obvious reasons, they were not asking about pretend basketball. The media's job is to generate interest. And it's kind of hard to get people to your shitty website when you're analyzing the arc of a missed layup. Outside of the world of make-believe, there were plenty of other questions they could ask Paige Bueckers. Maybe they could check the status of her relationship with Elmer Fudd. I'm sure people are wondering who will propose to who. Me personally, I think that would be an interesting question. In a girl-girl relationship in the WNBA where players are making minimum wage, who is responsible for buying the ring pop and proposing? Since WNBA players are threatening to cancel next season, they could ask Paige about her off-season plans, potentially over the next 2 years. Instead, they asked Paige Bueckers about the tragedy yesterday morning in Minneapolis. Now, this should have been a very easy question to answer. Matter of fact, Sophie Cunningham gave Paige Bueckers an example of how to handle this. Sophie Cunningham reacted to the tragedy by saying, "Nothing but prayers, just horrific and pure evil. May everyone involved feel our love." If you're an athlete and you want to remain apolitical, that is exactly how you should handle it. How did Paige Bueckers handle the question? I muted the sound in the clip because some doofus song is playing so loud in the background that you can barely hear what she is saying, but the caption is on the screen. Check it out for yourself. "I was in Minneapolis when the tragedy happened with our fallen hero, George Floyd. We need stricter gun laws. No justice, no peace. Take guns away from police." This is the face of your league. This is who the WNBA wants to be the face of pretend basketball. For starters, guns were not involved with George Floyd, so not sure why Paige Bueckers felt the need to mention her fallen hero. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure why Paige Bueckers felt the need to say anything at all. If you don't know what you're talking about, the best thing you can do is exercise your right to remain silent. And it is clear, Paige Bueckers has no idea what the hell she's talking about. Stricter gun laws would not have prevented what happened yesterday morning. If strict gun laws were the solution, the Trumper wouldn't need to deploy the National Guard to woke cities who have the strictest gun laws in the country. I know Paige Bueckers is young, so Uncle KC will give her some free wisdom. I know how much WNBA players love to be given things, so I'm sure she will accept this generous gift. One of the reasons stricter gun laws are not the answer: criminals don't obey the law. That's why they're criminals. This is the reason that the media wants Paige Bueckers to be the face of the WNBA. This is the reason that the league wants Paige to be their fearless leader. They know she is a loyal comrade. They know she is willing to preach the good word and spread the woke faith. The problem is your audience rejects it. The woke fungus is on life support. This movement is essentially dead. Think about it. When is the last time you heard about Meg Rapinoe, Bob Greiner, Leah Thomas, The Wicked Weave, Joy Reid, Jamel Hill, Smelly Jamelli? These used to be the woke stars. The country has rejected the fungus. Yet for some reason, the WNBA continues to embrace it. Someone please make it make sense. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.